Good morning, everybody. I do not know what is up with my streaming software today. Nothing seems to be working. Isn't that amazing? I love technical difficulties. I love starting off the stream with things not working. Can you hear me? Hello? Hi? How are you, everyone? Yes. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, everybody. You can hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh. So my intro didn't work. Here we go. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's go ahead and get this stuff on the road. All right. Welcome back to another Sunday morning coffee, friends. It wouldn't be one of my live streams if something didn't work. Now, let's just go ahead and jump right in. Because if you're new here, welcome. If you've been hanging out with us or me for years, welcome back. Grab your coffee, your water, your tea, your diet soda, whatever you've got in your hands. I have coffee right here. I haven't started drinking it yet. Been waiting for you. So, let's see. Now, if it's your first time commenting in the chat, tell me that too. Let me know where you're watching from, because I want to make sure that you are welcome. And make sure to welcome you properly, because that's what I want to talk about today. Welcoming people. Not just welcoming the people who are already, who already agree with us, but welcoming the people who haven't figured this out yet. It is no secret that one of the biggest goals of this channel is to expand beyond the community we're already in. I want to reach the people who aren't watching Dr. Barry yet. I want to reach the people who aren't watching Chris Cook in Nashville, Meeting Wellness. I want to make sure that, anybody and everybody here who has a channel who may not have these people, I want to reach those people, the people who do not know who we are. The hundreds of other creators who are talking about these ideas, I want to reach the people who are still sitting at home feeling hopeless. The people who feel like that they've tried everything. I know I felt that way, and I know there's a bunch of you who felt that way, maybe feel that way. The people who have gotten to the place where, I remember so many years ago where I was, where you start wondering if maybe giving up is the only option that you have left. Those are the people I want to find. And I don't think they're going to find us if we're, if all we're doing is screaming at the top of our lungs about how wrong everything is, everyone else is, or whatever. I think that we have to be very careful about how we present ourselves. I talk about this. This isn't the first time that I brought this up. We can't go out into social media and interest media telling everyone that virtually every food they've ever eaten is poison, that every company is lying to them, that every doctor is part of some massive conspiracy, and then immediately start talking about eating raw steaks, drinking raw milk, living on nothing but beef, salt, and water forever. Now, I'm not saying people can't make those choices for themselves. If that's what you need to do to find success, then I stand behind you. But we have to remember that people are going to make decisions about what they eat. And some people have found approaches that work very well for them, but we have to understand how that sounds to someone who has never heard of any of this before. If our first impression is so extreme that they immediately decide we're crazy, we've lost the opportunity to have the conversation at all. We have to remember that people we're still trying to reach have been listening to a very different message for decades. The same message that most of us listen to. They've been told to eat low fat. They've been told to eat more carbohydrates. They've been told to eat, that the meat that they eat should be limited. They've been given food pyramids, plates, serving recommendations, calorie targets, and an endless stream of changing advice. Some of them have trusted their doctors completely. Some have trusted dietitians, government organizations. Some have trusted television personalities and magazine articles. And now we're asking them to question a significant portion of what they've been told. Why would they automatically trust us? They shouldn't. They should not trust us. We haven't earned that trust yet. And this is where I think we have a tremendous opportunity. We don't have to demand that they trust us. We can earn it. We can show them that we can show them what our lives look like. We can share our successes. We can also share our failures. We can talk about the days when we ate something and we didn't intend to eat. We can talk about the struggles. We can talk about the things we got wrong. We can answer the same question 1,000 times without making somebody feel stupid for asking it. If somebody asked if bread is carnivore, we don't have to laugh at them. To us, the answer might seem obvious. To somebody who's never heard the word carnivore used as a dietary label before, it's a legitimate question. And if we make them feel stupid for asking those questions, why would they ever ask us their next question? I also think we have to be careful about turning our diet into our entire identity. There's nothing wrong with being proud of what you accomplished. I'm incredibly proud of what I've accomplished, but I don't want to, I don't want being carnivore, keto, ketovore, low carb, or whatever label I happen to use to become more important than the reason I started this journey in the first place. When I didn't change how I ate so I could spend the rest of my life arguing with people about food. I had no idea that when I took that first step into the ketogenic lifestyle, that this is what my life would become. I didn't know that I would become a certified health coach. I did not know that most of my days was going to be digging and discussing and debating and having these conversations for 10 years straight. So far, 10 years. I changed how I ate because I wanted a better life. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to be around for my family, and I wanted to stop feeling hopeless. I wanted to stop feeling like, well, whatever happened to my mom is going to be what happens to me. And I want others to have that opportunity as well. And I think there's another important piece of this conversation. Our bodies are individual. If someone has spent decades eating one particular way, their digestive system and their relationship with food may not instantly adapt to the complete opposite approach. We've seen people who haven't eaten meat in years experience digestive problems when they reintroduce it. So it's why I find it kind of surprising that when the reverse transition might be also difficult for some people. That doesn't mean one side is inherently right and the other is inherently wrong. It means humans are complicated. Adaptation takes time. And individual experience matters. We need to be able to talk about that without turning every conversation into another purity test. So as I think about where I want this channel, Keto Simple, to go, I'm asking myself a pretty simple question. What's more important? Helping millions of people make meaningful improvements in their health, or proving how strict we can be? Because I know which one I choose. I want to be a beacon. I want someone who's completely lost to stumble across one of my videos and think maybe there is another way. I want someone who is afraid to ask the questions to feel safe asking them. I want someone who isn't ready for carnivore to still feel welcome if they're not willing to to do today, if all they're willing to do today is stop drinking sugary soda and start with a little bit more protein. Maybe that's where they start. Maybe they go further later. Maybe they don't. But if their health improves, it's a win. And that's what I want us to think about as we move forward. We are already here. We're already doing this. We're already living these lives. We're already showing people what's possible. We don't have to become louder, angrier, or more extreme to make a difference. We need to become more approachable, more compassionate, more patient, more willing to answer the same questions over and over and over again, because somewhere out there is someone who feels exactly the way some of us once felt. They don't know we're here yet. They don't know there is a community waiting for them. They don't know that there might be a path forward. So let's be that beacon. Let's make sure they finally find us. So I should say, when they finally find us, that they don't turn around and run away. Let's make sure that they feel welcome. I have my coffee, friends. Get yours, and let's get into this conversation. So one thing that I did want to talk about a little bit here is one of the things that's happened this week is there was a UC Davis study that came out. I made a video about it. My thoughts, my opinions, and some of those, and I've been sitting here with it. I mean, Dr. Barry did a live the other day. He and Chris have made a butter mayo video talking about, why spend money on these questionable mayo products. And I've been thinking about this for a while. So I've been thinking about something, and it really clicked in my head just the other night. Okay? I was thinking about how in this study they went in and they tested the mayonnaise, and they found that there were inconsistencies with the type of oil inside the mayonnaise. And that got me questioning, well, in any jar of mayonnaise, there isn't just one type of fat. Even if you were using 100% olive oil, avocado oil, what have you, there's still another type of fat that goes into mayonnaise. The other major component that goes into making mayonnaise. The eggs. Eggs and oil are the two primary components to mayonnaise. And I got to thinking, I have to dig back in the study to find out if they took this into account. And that's exactly what I went through. I've been digging into this, right? So basically what this says is here's what the paper says, is the study evaluated oils extracted from commercial chips, mayonnaise, and salad dressing, and then analyzed those extracted oils using fatty acid and sterile profiles. They stated authenticity markers, including such things as palmitic acid, palmitoleic, I don't know, these are bigger words than I can pronounce this morning, but palmitoleic acid, I don't know. There's all these weird, sitosterol and claristol. I'm butchering these words. And one thing that makes that important is they didn't just say we tested a jar of mayonnaise and it doesn't look like avocado oil. So basically what they're saying is we extracted the oil fat fraction from the mayonnaise and then compared its chemical profile to authentic olive oil. So it doesn't look like that the eggs and the yolk and the fat there wasn't simply ignored as an ingredient, but But this is where kind of my question really kind of comes into play here. Egg yolks contain their own fat, including cholesterol and phospholipids. Again, I haven't taken the time to learn how to pronounce these words, so please, please, please bear with me. Well, avocado oil contains predominantly triglycerides plus its own minor compounds such as phytosterols. And the UC Davis test is based on the combined chemical composition of the extracted lipid fraction. That means the critical methodological question becomes, did their extraction and analytical method distinguish the avocado oil from the endogenous egg fat in the mayonnaise sufficiently to determine whether that or the added oil itself was adulterated? And it doesn't look like there's enough information in the publicly accessible UC Davis summary to confidently answer that question yet. So the paper says that the researchers extracted oils from the finished product and examined fatty acids and sterols, but the public-facing UC Davis materials doesn't spell out in enough detail for me to make that conclusion how egg-derived lipids were mathematically separated or accounted for in the mayonnaise samples. And it also looks like the researchers anticipated a related methodological problem. Well, could be processing itself changed the avocado oil footprint. They specifically did investigate, they investigated this. They made laboratory products and looked at what happened to the fatty acid and sterol profiles during processing, such as frying and emulsification. They reported that the key authenticity markers changed minimally, and they also used a 10% margin to account for natural variations in avocado oil. That suggests they weren't oblivious to the fact that they were dealing with processed food rather than a bottle of pure oil, which the Chosen Foods bottles of pure oil did pass. But that still leaves me, with the question, how did you account for the lipid contribution from the egg yolks in the mayonnaise? Now, we can't say that they didn't account for the eggs, so their mayonnaise results are meaningless. That in fact, the study's methodology indicates they extracted the oil fractions before doing the authenticity analysis, and they explicitly investigated processing and emulsification effects. So, yeah, I don't know if, I don't want to jump to conclusions. And I think we do jump to conclusions so often when we see any kind of study, whether it's, negative to the PhD lifestyle or pro. If it's pro, we're like, see, he gotcha. Just like the other side will do the same thing with the anti, if it comes out that it's not beneficial in a way, right? So we're like, no, we got to dig. We got to dig a little deeper, you know what I'm saying? Find out what you are, you know what I mean? Now, so now here's something that I wondered about when I read the study. Again, what about the eggs, right? So mayonnaise isn't just avocado oil like we're saying here. It's usually oil, egg yolks, or whole eggs, water, vinegar, lemon juice, and other ingredients. An egg contained fat. So, I just really wanted to know, again, when they did and extracted the oil from the mayonnaise and tested its fatty acid and sterol profile, did they account for the of the egg? So I don't know. Hopefully, I would reach out to UC Davis, but why would they respond to me about this? I will try. I don't even know if I have a way to reach out to them. I typically reach out to people on Instagram and Twitter, but I don't think UC Davis is going to do that. So I don't know what that is here. But I'm not, So Jackie is saying she read the label on avocado mayo one time and said this is not healthy. Now, here's the deal. You have to look past the marketing on the front of the package. Most avocado or olive oil mayonnaise in the grocery store isn't pure. It's right in the ingredients list. You turn it over, we see that there are seed oils contained in those. Anything by Hellman's or whatever, Miracle Whip or whatever, Kraft, doesn't matter. What we're talking about here is the Chosen Foods brand that indicates that it is 100% avocado oil. And on the back of the container, it says avocado oil, eggs, nothing about any other kinds of oils. So about as clean as you can get from a production mayonnaise. And I'm still not totally convinced that the study versus what Chosen Foods is saying, and I'm not trying to protect Chosen Foods. I have no obligation, nothing outside of having 6 jars of their mayonnaise in my cabinet because I use it to make my waffles. But I have to make sure that I'm not knee-jerking and jumping to conclusions where it may not be absolutely true of what the study says. Another piece of this puzzle for me is, it's amazing that, Dr. Barry and Chris Cook in Nashville got together and made the butter mayonnaise video because I think that is truly important. But again, getting back to the earlier piece of this live stream here, where who are we targeting here? The people who are going to go, yes, I will start making my mayonnaise right away. Or what's wrong with my Hellmann's that I've used for decades? Why should I care? Why is seed oils a problem for me? They are less likely to invest the time and energy to make their own if they don't see a need to. Well, they can just go and spend $4 on a container. I spend $10 for Chosen Foods at Costco, which, if you understand how much Chosen Foods cost at a regular grocery store, that's a steal of a deal. Also, I kind of look at this as we have to also be looking out for, again, the people who aren't going to fully commit to making everything. They're not going to go to a butcher. They're not going to go build a relationship with a farmer. They're not going to do any of these things because they're working 2 jobs, have kids in school, driving them to soccer, driving them to softball, doing all these things on top of housework and bills and everything that they have to do, grocery shopping. And it's everything that they can do to not just run through McDonald's. We have to look out for those people. We have a knowledge, we have an understanding, we have a voice that we need to hold these companies accountable and not just write them off whenever the potential for them to do something we don't like. Because while that's all well and good for us as individuals in this community, it doesn't help the people who don't know what they don't know. We have to be vigilant and fight for those people who have no way to buy. I mean, even for a lot of families buying $10 at Costco, mayonnaise is a stretch. How much money are people spending a week on their groceries? I have plastered that question all across my social medias. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even inside Dr. Barry's private community. I have received very few feedback. It looks like the average from the information that I have received is the average person is spending about $130 a week for a single person. The reason why I've been asking this is I do plan to do a video series How can I eat as a single person? I know I'm not single, but as a solo person, how can I buy just the food for me and try to stay under when I look up what is the average amount on the low end of the spectrum of people are spending on groceries, which looks to be about $60 to $75 a week. Now, I've seen I had one person say they spend about $40 a week. But I think trying to hit that $60 to $75 mark a week, I think is something that I feel I should try to do to show that it is possible. That if you don't have $130, $120, $140, $200 a week to spend on groceries for just you, here's how I would recommend doing it. And that's the video series that I want to do. Oh, yeah. So many things that have been on my mind lately. I was awake last night. I laid in bed thinking about this whole mayonnaise thing, and I've been thinking about a lot of things. I just have to be able to find the time to make the content that I want to make on top of getting my business in order. There is, I'm about to switch. I want to switch, and I want to switch providers that I use for my website. Currently, I'm utilizing Squarespace, but that, because I can't afford to pay it yearly, it's like $40 a month just for a website that doesn't provide me enough traffic to make that money back. And moving over to a company called Hostinger, where if I can get it, I will be getting it for 4 years for less than $200. Now, how much it is after 4 years, I don't know. That's 4 years from now. Me's problem, if you will, right? So I want to try again. How can I reach out? How can I put content out that's a flag to people who need to know? I want to start putting out content as like, do you feel like this? Do you feel like this? Do you feel like, do you always feel like you're just hungry? Doesn't matter how much you eat, that you're going to be looking in the fridge right before bed. All these very important pieces of the puzzle. How can you eat and get a decent start for a low budget? Because it has to be possible. But it's not going to be possible, like Dr. Barry says, with panda massaged beef. He's been saying that since 2018 or before. In the Dr. Barry private group, the private community, I posted a YouTube video of the first time I heard Dr. Barry. It was in 2018, April of 2018, with two keto dudes. Carl had recorded the episode at Dr. Barry and Nisha's home because he was utilizing Dr. Barry as a GP, but he had to go meet him in person. So that was kind of like the first kind of introduction to Dr. Barry that I had. And it's obviously snowballed from there. Here we are, 2026, 8 years removed from that video, or that wasn't even a video at the time. It was just a podcast. There was no camera, no nothing involved. It was just audio. And Jesus Freaking Ketovore says, yes, groceries are expensive. However, look at it as an investment in me and my family's health, which decreases the expenses of healthcare and prescriptions, which is a win for me. Yes. But for those people who don't yet see it that way and are on a very limited budget, how do we show them that this way of eating is possible? While you may be willing and able to spend $200, $300, $400 a week on groceries, there are people out there who cannot. regardless of how much it might save them in the long run. People who are struggling with bills and car payments and car insurance and, you know, all the things that come along with their children. Most people are like $100-$300 emergency from being just SOL out in the street. Not even a paycheck. Like $300 to $500 emergency wrecks families. So when we think about that, when we think about where a lot of people are, where a lot of the poverty, where a lot of the people who are the sickest are, regardless of how much it might save them 10 years from now, they can't afford that now. And I think that's where the attention needs to be. How do we get them to start looking at it in a way where they understand? So maybe they'll get to a point where they can do what, you know, what Jesus freaking Ketovore says, doing whatever. But even my kids tell me, I would eat keto, but it's too expensive. At the same time, they'll fill the fridge full of fresh broccoli and things and then let it rot because they didn't cook it in time. I don't buy fresh vegetables unless I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to use it that day or the next day. And typically the only fresh vegetables I buy are onions. Everything else I buy frozen onions all the time. I love having frozen onions in the freezer. I buy frozen broccoli, frozen Brussels sprouts. If I happen to know that I'm going to want fresh, crunchy Brussels sprouts, I will buy them fresh that day and then cut them up and cook them that day. But I don't buy at the grocery store for the week and buy lots and lots of fruits and vegetables outside of what's going to go in my granddaughter's lunchbox. Almost everything I buy is frozen. Frozen burger patties, except eggs. I have 16 dozen eggs in our refrigerator right now. 16 dozen eggs in our refrigerator. And we'll go through those because eggs are cheap. They're an amazingly affordable protein source. Did I buy them from a local farmer? No, because I don't have that connection currently. I do have somebody that does have an availability of about a dozen a week, but that's just going to be like an extra. Do I buy my eggs at Walmart or Costco? Just because I get 5 dozen eggs from Walmart right now for like $7. 10 dozen eggs for $14. Not all that long ago, 5 dozen eggs was like $35. 2 boxes was $60, $60, $70. So again, my whole outlook on this channel has to be focusing my attention outside of this community while still having lives like this who are here for you. Because I need you. I need your support. I need your interaction. I need you for my accountability. I've become very close with those of you who are in this chat today. We're friends here and we're friends outside of here. We talk. The ultimate show of affection is sending memes and videos to each other, and we do that. And I'm excited every single Sunday for that. But let's go ahead and take a look. I still do not know why this is doing what it's doing. I have to go in and do an overhaul on this week. I don't know what's going on here. It's really driving me crazy. It's not even showing up on screen. It's frustrating as all get out. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't look good. Doesn't look the way that I want it to. But anyway, so many of you wonderful people are here, and I'm very, very far. I'm like 35 minutes 36 minutes into the stream, and I'm just now saying hello to Evelyn. Good morning, Evelyn. So very glad to see you are here today. Same thing for you, Mr. Dish. Hello, Brian. Cindy just dropped in. She says she's probably going to say hi, has a lot to do today, but can't stay long. I understand. I do that a lot with lives because I don't always have enough time to sit and hang out with everybody. I would love to, but there's a live going on almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On a disappointing note, any of you who knew that I was going to be sitting down with Dr. Kiltz on October the 12th at 9 a.m., that has been canceled. So I guess that he's got some conflicting things and he can't do the 9 o'clock lives anymore. So that's the email that I got from Alia. Alia. Can't talk today. A little flustered at things not working the way that I want them to. All right, Angie's is here. Good morning, Angie's. Happy Sunday to you, dear. Brenda Jones is here. Couldn't sleep, so what's better than to watch Dustin and say hi to all the great people? Won't have a large cup of coffee. I agree. Cindy has been awake since 4:30. I was awake at like 4 o'clock. I got up to go potty and just didn't go back to sleep. And then Chandra gets up, and so we're just kind of meh. Kind of how the way that it goes. But we got to say hello to Mr. John Gugahan. He is here. Hello, hello. Happy to see you. Happy Sunday morning, friends. He also says, good weekend so far. Long bike ride yesterday. Nice hot Epsom salt bath this morning. And now some bacon and eggs with, of course, coffee. Aaron is here. Hello, Aaron. I'm so very glad to see you, my friend. How are you? Had a horrible night's sleep, but it happens. Happy to be among friends this morning. That's all we can ask for, right? When things don't work, I've still got all of you guys here. We've got Mr. Rick in the house. Hello, Rick. How are you doing, my friend? Okay, that's not even working. Okay, cool, awesome. The Rick, and the Let's Get Dangerous, not working. I'm so irritating. Oh, my goodness. Well, okay. We just make do with the best here. Brian, Mr. Doyle is on the golf course again this morning. Good morning. Just started raining. I hope those floods aren't getting to you guys down there, Dustin. Well, there is a lot of floods. Luckily, we are fortunate to not be in a floodplain. Yeah, so that's good. I don't know how bad it would have to get for it to be here, but it's not. So thankfully. Lots and lots of flooding everywhere. Lots of flooding. Mr. Rick says, good morning. John, Mr. Smoothie is here. Hello, my friend. How are you? Good to see you. And Jabber Jen is in the house. Hello, Jabber Jen. Very glad to see you, dear. Oh, everybody's saying hello. I got the stupid gnat won't go away. I don't even know what there's been a gnat in this room. I've tried to kill it, and I don't know what. I don't know where it goes. It just lives here. I should just name him. It's just Natalie. Natalie isn't here bothering me. My granddaughter is upset the other day because I have not brought Dan. If you guys are familiar with Dan, you guys know Dan? This is Dan. Dan is a good dude. Dan is one of the greatest guys. Some Diet Pepsi's over here. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me toss these out real quick. Yeah, but Dan's the man. Let's put Dan right here because Dan is a good dude. We'll put Dan right here. He'll sit up right. There we go. There's Dan. Dan's in the shot. We love Dan. Barb is here. Hello, Barb. So very glad to see you. Hello, everyone. Coffee is good and morning is early. Still dark here. Yeah. I'm curious to see what they're going to do when it comes to this daylight savings time. They're going to lock it in place. Is it going to be like weird? I don't know. We'll have to see what goes on. We'll have to see what happens. I'm super excited. D23 is this weekend. If you are not a Disney person, D23 is a every 2-year exposition in Anaheim where they go over everything from new movies to the theme parks to the cruise ships and everything in between for the Disney company. And I'm excited. I'm going to be hopefully seeing some great content coming out later today from all the content creators about last night, which was the theme park and the entertainment section of the theme parks and the attractions. Hopefully we'll learn some more stuff. Excited about it. But anyway, Barb is here. Thank you, Barb. I appreciate you so very much, my dear. And I saw that Mr. Papa Carnivore is here. Mr. Pete is here. Hello, Pete. How are you doing, my friend? Oh. Jabberden says, no, Evelyn, that would be Grandma Keto's corner or Keto's crochet or Grandma's crochet corner. Her Grandma is Barb also, but BBA is also Barb. So there's more than one Barb. Amanda the Carnivore is here. Good Sunday morning, Dustin, everybody. It's a great morning today. 100%. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so very much. Yes, there is more than one Barb. Yes. Steph says, oh my goodness. Good morning. Still have no power since Tuesday. The storm that came through down massive amounts of trees and power lines. I'm grateful to have no house damage. That and I have hot water. I would be like, let's all go to the hotel. Let's all go to a hotel. Yeah. Yes. I hope that you do get your power back soon, Steph. I really do. That's got to be awful. Barb got her seasoning from Brett, Mr. Hoosier Carnivore. Hell yeah. I love it. Yeah. Gary Airport clocked the wind at 99 miles an hour. In other places, even higher. Ooh. That's a lot. Mr. Gen X Tech Nerd is in the house. Hello, my friend. How are you? Woo! Jolene is here. Good morning and God blessings to all. Well, thank you, Jolene. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm so glad to see you. Mr. Bradley says, I feel special. He was waiting for me to show up. That's right. Waiting for Sean to show up. That's right. And Amy, good morning, Amy. How are you? Aaron says, good morning to me. Good morning to me. Yeah. Sandy's here. Woo. And Barb says, I didn't know there were such strong storms going on there now. Yeah, I mean, not right now, but this week there's been a lot of storms, a lot of thunderstorms, a lot of just nasty weather, a lot of rain, lots and lots of flooding. Pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Everybody say hello to Jeff Fafa. So very glad to see you, my friend. How are you? Good to see you. Yes. Christy, Meaning Wellness, all the way from the West Coast. Good morning, friends. Feels so good to be hanging out with all of you today. Glad to see you, dear. I bought more picanha But again, whenever I get it, I just come home and I cut it and I cook it like a steak. I do need to get some with time. Like time is something that I just don't. You would think I'd have more time, but I don't seem to have enough time to do anything. But yes, indeed. Pete says I got a pair of blue blocker sunglasses, and it's really helped my sleep. Do you use them? I do not. I don't have any trouble with sleep. If anything, I sleep too much. Like I can sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and then wake up and roll over and go back to sleep. And Brian's asking, did I send one of my cats? Said Dustin, did you send one of your cats to Rick for Milton to train? I did not. I did not. It doesn't feel goo. It feels good. That's hilarious. I love it. I love it. Sharon Steadfast is in the house. Good morning, lovely people. Woo! And Jim is asking, were there any more tornadoes on Jen's live last night? I was not involved with any of Jen's lives last night. I haven't been on Jen's channel or Barb's channel in a little while. Just seems like I just feel overwhelmed sometimes. So I kind of took yesterday, like we were supposed to go, like there's like 2 Dr. Barry lives yesterday. And then like we were going to have a soccer game for my granddaughter, but that was canceled because the field was too wet. The field was flooded. Yeah. Meaning Wellness was at Low Carb San Diego yesterday with my mom, met Dr. Hampton. It was great. So one of the things about Low Carb San Diego is people, it's not so much, now maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Christy. My understanding is it's not like KetoCon or Hack Your Health or any of those. It's not like, it's more based on the science. You go there for lectures. Am I correct on that? I'm sure there's probably some sponsored content or sponsored vendors, maybe, but I don't know. Fill us in. Let us know what you think. And Maritza is here. Hello, Maritza. So very glad to see you, my dear. Oh. And Steph says that Dr. Tony Hampton is her doctor. I love it. Rick says duck food, not poison. And Christy is talking to Evelyn that he's really great in person, very personable, and seems like he's really happy to meet you. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Blue blocker glasses. So here, Pete's talking to Aaron here, saying that I wear blue blocker glasses at night when watching TV and watching videos on my phone. I've been sleeping through the night since buying and using the BB glasses. That's been something since the 90s, like blue blocker glasses. Let me look this up. Like, so let's talk about here. Like, when did blue blocker glasses first come out? Commercial blue blocking glasses first came out in 1986 when entrepreneur Joe Sugarman launched blue blocker sunglasses to the general public. The 1980 technology, NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory originally created the light filtering lenses technology to protect astronauts from harsh space radiation. In 86, Joe Sugarman turned the NASA concept into a commercial product, famously selling the amber lenses through direct response infomercials, blue blocker sunglasses. In the 2000s, screen era glasses specifically marketed to block blue light from computers and digital screens became a widespread separate market in the early 21st century, according to 12 Eyewear. Now, that's just one of those things. Like, there's always been blue blockers. There's been like the glasses that help you drive at night, the kind that get rid of the glare when you're driving. Yes. And Mr. Rick says, why would I want to convert anyone to carnivore? No benefit to me. Well, I think it's not so much what's good for you as what's good for the person you're trying to help, right? I think it's an existential idea. It's a what's what's good for the common man. How do we help people? You know, it's one of the hardest things for me to be in the grocery store and I see people struggling and they've got carts full of just garbage and you want to help them, but you know that there's no way to approach anyone in the grocery store cold and be like, you know what you're buying is garbage, no matter how you word it, no matter how you phrase it, no matter how convincing you might think you are, you come off like a total asshole. You just do. Let's say no matter how big or big I got, it didn't matter if somebody goes, you're really fat. Like, I know. Duh, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't help me. So, we do it to the best of our ability just to help people. It doesn't have to be a benefit to me. I mean, I understand where Rick is coming from here when it comes to the more carnivores, the more people who are buying meat, the more the infrastructure stresses and the less meat for everybody, the prices go up. Yeah. But I understand that, but I'd rather pay more for meat, I guess. Christian says, I went to Keto Mojo booth, had my blood glucose and ketones tested. They asked what I was doing because I have blood glucose of 81 and ketones of 2.3. I said carnivore, and they said it was all the carnivores that weekend. Yes. Curious to what, like, if, you know, I have to I'm probably going to buy a Keto Mojo because if it could do both, if it can do blood glucose and ketones in the same machine, I think that's very powerful. I have a ketone reader. It's a Keto Coach, which was rebranded to Bio Coach, and now they don't sell the strips anymore. And the strips for Keto Mojo don't work with it. So I'll have to buy something. It's going to drive me nuts, though. But yeah, I just don't have the money right now to invest in that. Barb says, can't feed meat to babies. You can. You can feed meat to babies. Our little 7-month-old last night was eating steak. She likes butter. She likes eggs. We feed her eggs all the time. She loves eggs. She's still on the bottle. Unfortunately, one of those things just didn't quite work out. So she's a bottle-fed baby. But yeah. Oh, yeah, with numbers like yours. Those are high ketones. Do. Oh, my goodness. Donna Ray is here. Good morning, Donna Ray. So very glad to see you. Yes. Carl is here. I'm happy that I can go into another day or go another. Let's see. I'm happy that I can go into another hay fever season without any symptoms. I stay keto. I stay symptom free. I love it. Terry Girl is here. Good morning, dear. So very glad that you have joined us today. Yeah. Our first granddaughter, she ate just pads of butter. She just loved butter. She loved eggs. She loves steak. I mean, obviously you got to start them when they're able to digest it and they start to have teeth come in, you know, and you get a little teeny tiny pieces. Teeny tiny pieces. Oh, metaphorically. Oh, yeah. I understand. Yeah, it's like And I'm very guilty of this. When I first started, I didn't have any concept of that. Like, we don't want to overwhelm people. People would reach out to me and they would say, "Hey, I see you're having success with weight loss. What are you doing?" And I would just info dump the crap out of them. I would just be like, long, huge, gigantic text messages, right? And they were like, "Yeah, I don't think that this is for me." And I like, "Oh, it's so easy." But it was so easy. It was paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of how I do it, which was too much too soon. Hey, cut back on your carbohydrates. Try to get them down. I mean, realistically, I think the idea in the beginning of like 100 total carbs. In the beginning, 100 total carbs. The idea of 20 total carbs in the very beginning is very overwhelming. And I mean, I was doing 20 net when I started. Then the idea of like 20 total, I wouldn't even be able to eat a broccoli. But then you kind of get to the point where, like, do I even care about the carbohydrates and broccoli? Is broccoli going to be skyrocketing my blood sugar? Probably not. Am I going to see a rise in my blood glucose? Probably some. But not like not like a piece of cake. Because it wasn't broccoli that made me fat. It wasn't cauliflower that made me fat. It wasn't Brussels sprouts that made me fat. It wasn't carrots that made me fat. It was ice cream, and it was corn dogs and mac and cheese and all the things that I ate every single day. So how do we start to kind of provide information, kind of put things out there that people start to just kind of pick and choose and start pushing themselves into a better direction? How do we do that? By not being pushy and overwhelming and nasty and say crazy stuff that they're going to think you're just some crazy person. Pete says that he is bummed because I already drank my big cup of my patented super delicious fatty coffee deluxe before the show started. I'm very sorry about that, but there is more. Oh. Woo. Angie says we should want to be happy, and that means sometimes we get things wrong. Imperfect consistency. Life is messy sometimes, but the change, 100%. Everything we should be doing here should be being kind. I see, and I know Facebook groups are kind of toxic places, and I'm in a few, basically just to kind of put out there like, hey, why are you being such a douche canoe? You know, there's simple questions like that, because people will come in and they will ask legitimate questions, and people are like, "There's not carnivore," and they're trying to figure this out just like you did. Yeah, we change the world one person at a time, taking the time to help them where they are and not where we think they should be. 1,000%. Yeah, Steph says another flood warning. There's just going to be, because it's raining up north, and it's going to keep coming down south. That's just one of those things. Like, how do you know the world is round? Because if something happens up north with water, it comes south. I don't know. And Barb says, thank you for making me feel welcome as a new person on your channel. 100%. Why? I don't understand the idea of, I don't understand how anybody could have a channel and not be welcoming to new people. Even Vegas has had 3 days of rain. I was in Vegas one time. It was raining. I remember driving down the 15, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, like the interstate that kind of goes along the strip. And we were driving. There was like a tumbleweed. I was like, what? Really? A tumbleweed? I was like, yeah, I was excited to see a tumbleweed, because you only see that stuff in cartoons or in old movies, old Western movies. Like, Yeah. Lisa is here. Good morning, Lisa. So very glad that you have joined us today. Good to see you. And man, it says, too bad you can't handle a second cup. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, breaks my heart. Makes me verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh. John Together Strong is in the house. Good morning, my friend. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in a good long while. How are you? How have you been? What's new? There we go. Jackie says, shouldn't there be generic material to show it's avocado? Or genetic material to show it's avocado? I completely don't get how you get oil out of all sorts of foods like that. I mean, yeah, I don't understand how they extracted the oil, the fats out of the mayonnaise once it's emulsified. But I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I mean, kind of like, but I mean, I'm questioning it. I'm questioning the science. I am skeptical of the science, as one should be skeptical of science, especially of these papers, because it stands like, you know, not that I trust, like, again, not that I trust the giant, you know, the giant, what's it called? The big company that now owns Chosen Food, the private equity firm that owns Chosen Foods. Not like I trust them, because I won't trust them as far as I could throw the building they sit in, which is not at all. I can't move it. I can't even just push on it. Nothing happens, right? But I don't trust them. But also at the same time, we have to have, hopefully, some trust that at least one company's doing it the right way, right? At least one company's doing it the right way. Because Chosen Foods did do, here, let me see if I can find the Chosen Foods statement here. Let's see if it shows me here. Let's see. That's from 2023. I don't know about that. Let's see. Can I find it in images? All right. So this is what Chosen Foods said here. Let me see if I can make it big enough for me to read. Okay. So this is the press release that Chosen Foods released one day ago. It says, we heard the concerns, a message to our community. And Thomas DeLauer says, I'd love to invite you on my show to discuss this. I think the people want details. As someone that has organically promoted your product in the past, non-paid, I personally am invested in this because my audience and your customers definitely need to know the details. 100%. And I asked in here, I was like, how can you be transparent enough to prove that and restore our trust in your products? I think that's very, very valuable here, right? Because what they say is, we take the integrity of our foods seriously, which is why we have been committed to avocado oil purity since day one. It's important to underscore that we start with the same pure avocado oil in our mayonnaise and dressings that's in our cooking oils. Says we never add seed oils of any kind to any of our products. For years, all of our avocado oil has been tested for purity, both internally as well as by third parties, before it goes into any products. A recent UC Davis study suggests that 2 of our mayos and 2 of our salad dressings contain seed oils, which is simply not true. We never add seed oils of any kind. We believe the testing procedures used in this recent study do not fully account for the unique characteristics of finished products such as condiments and dressings. We are steadfast in our promise to bringing families the best possible avocado oil products, and we stand by our quality of our food. So that's what they're saying. 2,000 comments, 8.6 thousand likes. And I still kind of feel like, okay, so here's kind of how I take this a little bit as well. The average consumer probably doesn't give a shit. Plain and simple. We are outliers. We are a very vocal outlier, but outliers nonetheless. Are we a growing concern? Yes. But like, and somebody says, what exactly does we believe the testing procedures used in this recent study do not fully account for the unique characteristics of the finished products such as condiments and dressings mean? To me, it sounds like this process might actually add those seed oils because they have to do it at the finishing. I'm sorry, but this statement does not satisfy my questions. It actually makes you seem guilty as charged. Well, I don't necessarily think that, but let's see. Transparency like this is why we cook with Chosen, standing with you. I still don't see any transparency there. People are like, transparency question mark? Now, again, I have promoted this company for a while, unpaid, no sponsorships, no free products, nothing like that. They don't know who I am. But because I have promoted this, I use this product myself. Like I said, I have 6 jars in the pantry right now because, again, it goes with my waffles. And I don't think the butter mayonnaise is going to... Someone tried the butter mayo and told me they didn't work as well as the waffles. So that's concerning to me. But I could use their Chosen Foods avocado oil and make my own mayo, because it doesn't need to really have I don't have to add anything flavor-wise, just basically make enough and use what I make that day right then to use in my waffles. But like, I mean, it's not saving me any money, because like a half-liter bottle of Chosen Foods avocado oil is like $17. Yeah. So people are like, show us the transparency, show us the testing. Where's your evidence? Da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just kind of one of those things that's happening. So I'm glad to see that people push back, but the average people, the people who don't even care, aren't even buying Chosen Foods. So Steadfast says, wait, so you're saying that the Chosen Food oil passed their testing, but the mayo did not. So that's what makes me question if they're, I mean, it's not like out of the realm of possibilities that they are putting pure oil into the bottles for sale for avocado oil and using maybe less stringent testing on the stuff that goes in the mayonnaise because it's going to get whipped into mayo and it's not that big of a deal. I still think it's probably still the best mayo on the market, because I don't know, they didn't test the Hellmann's. Hellmann's does have a pure avocado oil mayo that they were selling at Sam's Club. I have a jar in the pantry. I haven't opened it, but yeah, there is some pure avocado oil based on the front label and the back ingredients list. But again, that's Hellmann's, and I don't know how much trust you or I can put into Hellmann's. I have no reason to not trust Hellmann's, but they were not named or tested in this particular study, because it's also not widely available. If the only place you can get it is at Sam's Club, I think, then yeah. Jackie says, good morning. Good morning. Read the labels of avocado mayo once. Yes, we've talked about that. Yeah, you can look at the marketing. The marketing on a lot of the stuff that's in the grocery stores will say avocado oil. There's still canola and other seed oils mixed in. But in this instance, the Chosen Foods says 100% avocado oil on the front and in the ingredients list. Mr. John says, I won't be talking in the chat. Had some complications during my eye surgery, so I'm resting it. Watching along with you, though. I appreciate you. I hope you're feeling better, my friend. And Sharon says, I have a friend bring me mayo from Costco when she visits because I don't have a Costco. Yeah, I would still say it's still probably the cleanest one you can find as far as commercially available mayonnaise. Carrie's in the house. Good morning, my friend. I hope you're feeling better. Coach Leslie is in the house. Good morning. How are you doing? Good point. Still waiting for Mark Sisson's documentation showing why he refutes the study. I mean, it's not a. I mean, I don't understand. It doesn't seem likely that a company's gonna be like, yeah, we're mistaken. And like I said, even when it comes to the study itself, it's basically their study's words over the company, right? Do you trust the study? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there to watch them do the study, and I know that that's kind of a silly take to take, but at the same time, I mean, testing a mayo, I don't understand how they were able to extract the stuff and be able to test it when there's multiple types of fats in that, because I mean, there's obviously avocado oil, and there's the egg fat as well. So, I mean, I understand it, and I understand that like testing and they do the things and it's whatever. Yeah. Barb says that she loves my chaffles. I eat them in moderation very much because I have found that the beef gelatin in them severely slows down my lower digestive tract. Interesting. Because it seemed like the beef gelatin would be something that would be digested in the upper digestive, because it seems like meat and things like that kind of gets in the upper intestines, and then the small intestines kind of finishes the job, kind of. And then she says, yeah, probably still a better option for those that are eating a highly processed food. For example, cheese powder, white or orange, and the cheese puff ball. I used to love those before changing my food. Yeah. And of course they're in it for the money. I mean, every company's in it for the money. There's no company out there who's not in it for the money, because without the money, they won't be a company anymore. John says he spends about $60 a week, but the same thing week after week, keeps it simple, keeps it cheap. Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to try to do that. And then I'm going to try to do some content where, like, how can I expand on it? Because we don't really eat pork in the house except for some bacon sometimes. But like, we could probably go a lot further and eat like pork loin and all these things, but they don't digest well for us and gives us heartburn, and it's just not comfortable. So yeah. Jackie says, so here's a thought. The flavor profile is a little different, but my mom-in-law makes deviled eggs with just milk and mustard. Could do egg salad that way too. Maybe. I'm not a very much of an egg salad or any of that. The only thing I ever use mayo for personally is just my waffles. I don't use it. I don't eat mayonnaise. I'm not a fan of mayonnaise. It's just not been a thing that I've eaten. My mom liked it, I guess, when I was a kid, but I never liked mayonnaise. And Bar says every single thing is expensive in Washington. Too many taxes. Yeah. That's why all the companies are leaving Washington. They're like, where are you guys going? Hey, where are you going? Gary says the kids come back on the 19th. Woo! And John says that it's mostly hamburger. I buy frozen burger patties with some sardines. I'm adding eggs into the rotation. That's it. Simple as it gets. 100%. Chris Cook in Nashville is in the house. How are we doing, my friend? He says, how's the bearded brother today? I'm doing wonderful today. So glad to see you, Chris. How are you and Ash and the pupper dog, Miss Mel? How are you guys doing today? And Carrie says that the food that can heal is expensive. The food to keep you sick is dirt cheap. But it's not, though. Like, think like if you look at like the cost per pound of like Doritos versus beef, cookies versus beef, you're almost always going to win with beef. Weird thing is I look at a pound of food and I think a pound of hamburger, and that's a serving to me, But for everybody else, one patty is a serving. And I'm like, well, yeah, I got to talk about that as well. Barb says eggs, bacon, ground beef, chicken, vegetables, and all the things that make meals and home care and pet basics. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and Jesus freaking Ketovore says, I think Dr. Barry and yourselves have said that hot dogs and bologna are a better choice. Yeah, but at the same time, like, you can get 2 pounds of hot dogs for like $6, or a pound of beef for $6. Or I get frozen burgers for like $5 a pound, or $4.30 a pound, or whatever it is, right? When I make the video, I'll put all the prices and a time say, like, this is X month and X year, but like whatever, right? So yeah, just how do you make this stuff? Like, where do you buy things and stay under like a realistic kind of poverty budget? Because I think so much of us, you're like, we can spend, I mean, if money was no object, sure, I would just be like, hey, hook me up with a cow every couple of months. Give me the steaks and the burgers and all the things, and just have fresh cow and stuff. And yeah, that's great. But like, a lot of people, even if their entire yearly budget could cover a cow, they don't have that yearly budget to cover the cow. Like, there's not a lot of payment plans probably when it comes to beef. You're paying, however much. I don't honestly think that there's a payment plan unless you get a credit card, and then that's kind of a, then you're still paying interest. It just snowballs from there, right? Barb says that she eats keto. I love it. Yeah, actually, the crap food is quite expensive. A box of cereal is now $5 to $7 a box. Donuts, muffins, danishes, yeah, everything. If you start doing it by pounds versus meats, it's not really that different. It just seems different because the purchase price of a box of ding dongs or whatever is like $3. I mean, if you really, you can survive on ramen noodles for like, you can go ham for $2 a day on some ramen noodles. Really, let's be real. Like, if you are legitimately struggling, $2 a day will get you 4 packs of ramen noodles. And that's like enough to feed a person every day. If you're, 50 cents for a pack of ramen noodles. And that's 2 servings, mind you. So like, you're still looking at 25 cents a serving, but but no one eats doesn't eat 1 pack of ramen noodles. And I know that the ramen noodles isn't keto, carnivore, or whatever, but I'm talking about abject poverty for somebody who was like, either I eat ramen or I eat nothing. So I think that kind of idea, like, so when we think about how we spend our money, you can literally survive off of ramen noodles. It's not going to be a good existence, but you won't starve to death, so to speak, right? But when you start looking and putting your investment into eggs and putting your investment into hamburger and maybe some bacon and some mustard and coffee, and you just kind of streamline your existence, it would be a lot easier. But people want variety. So, I'm going to do a video on the bare bones on what I would eat, and then kind of start expanding a little bit and see how the prices truly change. And Chris says he did a video where he ground up cornflakes with a little water to make a patty and showed how much it is next to a pound of burger. Then I did the same math per pound and by nutrition. So, yes, if you're looking, I wanted to find a way to be able to make content to where I was showing that, like, what's the cost per nutrition? Like, the cost to get a full true amino acid profile, true fat profile. And, and I'll even go to the trenches and say, like, there's nothing essentially, like, there's no such thing as truly zero carb when it comes to the foods we eat. Now, rounding down like they do, sure. but there's residual carbohydrates in beef. There's tiny amounts in eggs. Well, eggs, the word was like gone. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, so people, I just, yeah. Oh, again, the cats get tuned. They hear the can crack. And I tell you what, like when our cats are living inside, when I would pop the can of sardines, they would all come a running. They love. I would give them a little bit of the sardines. They would try to lap up the oil. I don't know how good that is for them, but I still give one of our cats sardines every once in a while when he's being a good boy. It's good. Good to give him a little bit of sardines. Karen Harrington's in the house. Good morning, my dear. How are you? And Sharon says, I too buy frozen onions for meat, but I don't buy other frozen vegetables ordinarily. I mean, I have to be in a mood to want broccoli or Brussels sprouts. It's not very often anymore, but sometimes just very buttered broccoli sounds delicious. Okay? And I'll have some. I don't see a problem with it. I mean, and here's kind of one of the things that I was kind of alluding to in the intro here is if you're a person who eats primarily hamburger, steaks, meat, and you don't have a lot of vegetables, when you do go and eat some vegetables, you're probably going to get a little bit of digestive distress because the gut biome isn't necessarily ready for that. You're going to be a little gassy. You're going to be this. And then I think people extrapolate, well, that means it's not good for me. Now, whether you look at the bioavailability of what's in the vegetables or not, but I think just being a little gassy from some of the foods that you may eat doesn't essentially not for you or bad for you essentially. But I think it's the same thing again when we talk about like a vegan who's been a vegan for 20 years and they go and eat steak. They're going to have the tumblies, you know what I mean? They're going to be gassy. They're going to be probably nauseous, all kinds of stuff from just eating meat. Does that mean meat's bad for them? No. Their gut biome isn't ready for that. Maritza's asking, what do I do with leftover butter when you fry chicken thighs? I fry my chicken thighs in tallow or lard, depending on what I have. Typically, I'll do it with lard because lard's a little cheaper than tallow. I like cooking my eggs in tallow. Or more for tallow. So that's kind of how I do that to cook, right? Okay, everybody, Chris Cook in Nashville has his bonus materials available on the website. So if you have purchased or pre-ordered the book, take your order number, go to Chris's website after the stream, or if you're a PC, you can do it while you're watching me. Go to his website, it's live, click it, enter your order number, and you should receive your bonus materials via email shortly. Yes. And Chris says if you start the chicken thigh skin side down in a cold pan, you can fry it in its own fat and it renders out. Yeah. I've been doing it like the same way. Doing it butter bob style for so long. That's just kind of how I go. I start with the fat. So when I go to start the fat, I don't warm the fat up. The fat's just in the bottom of the pan. And I take my chicken thighs and I put them skin side up and I cook them for a while. And then I'm boiling that fat. And it becomes less and less lard and more chicken fat over time. But then I flip them over and then they're skin side down. Then I cook those until they're crispy and I flip them over for a little bit longer just to make sure they're done all the way through. Oh, it's like meat candy. So delicious. The skin is so crispy. It's like chicken with its own potato chips built in. It's delicious. So delicious. Barb says, I feed hubby who was not strict keto. Spend about $450 every 2 weeks on both of us. So $225 a person every 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. It's still about. And Lisa says that I just made dinner, put it in a crock pot for the next few days for my son and I. It cost me $11.50 roughly. Some ingredients I already had and was blessed with deer meat, so I cut down the cost. Oh, yeah. I love it. So spending about $112 a week. Yeah, that makes sense. Andy is here. She's watching at 2 times chipmunk speed. Says, I'm eating, drinking lots of keto chow. My plus kept my grocery bill down, meat, eggs, cheese, about $600 a month for 2 people. You're killing it. You're killing it, lady. You do a good job. I love to hear it. Pete says I spend about $60 a week on myself. I'm single. Different kinds of meats, eggs, and butter. Yeah. And Pete says all those healthy vegetables and berries are very expensive. Thank goodness I'm not buying any of that anymore. But if you're doing keto, enjoy that stuff. Great. I mean, our granddaughter eats a lot of fruit. I get her grapes and blackberries and blueberries and strawberries. Nothing outrageous. She's not eating pounds of pineapple or anything like that. So, try to keep her happy. And she is just a ball of energy, so she's always on the go. So I don't necessarily see a problem with the kids and fruit. I mean, if you get to the point you are resistant and you're all these things, and yeah, cut back on the fruit. But if you're it's like the Paul Saladino thing. If you're a person who surfs 6 hours a day, you're in peak physical condition, and you want to eat mango, okay, have at it. Drink your raw milk and eat your mango and your other fruits. But I'm sure he's keeping tracks of his biomarkers, and if he starts to see things kind of going sideways, I'm sure he'll know what to do to correct it. I just think that when it comes to people like Paul Saladino and sometimes people like Thomas DeLauer, and I think sometimes they get lost in how they do things, and they're maybe explaining how they do things without the thought that people are watching them, and they may be in the different place of their journey where if they try to mirror what Paul Saladino is eating or what Thomas DeLauer is eating, it's not going to have the same effect for them. Yeah, the quack is broken. I'm very sorry. Hopefully next week everything will be fixed. I probably have to I tried restarting this before I started the stream, but I didn't restart my computer. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe to go in and do I don't know if there's any kind of refresh I can do inside the app or whatever this is, but I don't know. Aaron's trying to catch lives, but life happens. Make sure to watch replays. It's one of my friends. I try to do as much as I can. There's just not enough hours in the day. Barb says, my husband hears what I watch about carnivore and says that he would like to try it, but I'm not so sure he could do it, though, very well. He has trouble eating steak and even chicken with his dentures. Well, I mean, tenderize it to death. Do whatever you got to do. Hamburger, Retired Rick is in the house. Good morning, Mr. Retired Rick. How are you doing? And Sean Bradley, sounds like you've got whammy, Dustin. Might have to run an antivirus scan. I don't think so. It's just not showing up here with whatever they've got going on here. I don't know. I just need to reset it somehow. We'll have to wait and see. Disco Dan. Oh my goodness. So far behind. Aaron is here. Hello, Aaron. So very glad to see you. How are you? John says, heads up for the Keto Carnivore crowd. My guide app to catch your favorite creators going live will be out on Android in a couple of weeks. I love it. Do we have to do something to opt in, or is it going to be just scouring for who's who? How is that going to work, John? And Evelyn says, well, I don't go often, but when I do, so she's talking about the Amish cheese. Amish cheese. Yeah. I'm trying to eat less cheese, but it's so delicious. Christy is right. Pecan. Yeah, I'm so happy that Mar Costco is now selling pecan. It's $9.99 a pound. So it's not quite where it was a couple of years ago when like Russ was like, I get it for $7 a pound. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But $9.99 a pound is still not $16 a pound like ribeye. Rick says, I picked up a gallon of raw milk. I don't have any interest in raw milk. I don't really drink enough milk for it to matter. If I'm going to drink some milk, it's probably going to be just some of the low lactose, the low sugar milk. But I mean, that's very few and far between. I don't really drink a lot of milk, you know? Maritza is going to try and make a meetup sometime in January. I love it. I can't wait to see how it turns out for you. Dan is in the house. Good morning, Dan. Hi, all. What's good, Dustin? How are you doing? How was your vacation? Can't wait to hear all about it. Woo! Mr. Dan Danivore is in the house. Yeah, I mean, and Pete says that Dr. Barry says that milk is for baby. Yeah. I mean, but I grew up on milk. Milk is milk is just something that I drank all the time. I always had milk in the house. I would drink so much milk. And so sometimes I just need some. Does it sound silly? Yes. But like, there's just something about milk. I love it. I don't do it very often. It's usually just very few. Of course, it doesn't help that the milk I buy is expensive. The Fairlife milk, it's like $6 or $5 for the container. I don't drink it often, but sometimes milk just really hits the spot. Says, missed all y'all, just got back. What a journey. I can't wait to hear all about it. Yeah, so Christy says, low carb San Diego is generally meant for practitioners, and they can even get CME credit for some of their lectures, but anyone can go. There were a few vendors, but not many. Yeah, okay. And Rick says, I never offer to help anyone unless they ask for it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like even people are asking for it don't understand really what they're asking for. So I still try to tread lightly. I still find myself saying, like, I'll say things like fiber isn't necessary, and people just look at me like I'm insane. And you can tell right away, well, they're not going to listen to me or anything else I say, so might as well not even bother. So it's like you just kind of watch people. Like, they're going to look at you and go, well, what do you mean? Everything is fiber. You got to have fiber. You got to have this, but you don't. But saying it out loud with no context, people think you're insane. And they make a face. Yep, they know you're insane. And I might be insane, but not about that. Pete says, friendship. Yes. Angela Mullins is in the house. Good morning, dear. How are you doing today? Brett's in the house. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? So very glad to see you. We were talking about your seasoning earlier, sir. Barb got hers. And Brett says, I finished my 15 days of CGM. All days were within range with no spikes. Eating carnivore. Very informative couple of weeks. But I also have to ask the question, like, and this is going to sound crazy, but do we think that it's possibly healthy to go for a very long time with no glucose spikes? Because that's something that didn't happen probably in nature, right? It didn't happen in our past. Like, there was probably fasting and feasting days. There were days where we didn't eat meat. We ate just what we could find, and that was maybe fruit, whatever. And I imagine that our glucose went through the roof. So I'm just curious, is if we keep things like, you know, it's kind of like one of those things I'm always curious about. If somebody stays in a ketogenic state, and I understand that there's an ebb and flow in and out of ketosis, even when you are on track and you're keeping everything to where it needs to be, but it's also, I think about how detrimental it is to never be in ketosis, always glucose fed, not being in ketosis, not creating ketones, even though I imagine some here and there, even on a glucose fed diet, probably still happens some. Probably still a little bit of autophagy happening, but not to the levels that are therapeutic, right? But I'm just curious. I wonder if there are any potential downsides to going long stretches with no actual glucose spikes. I'm just being analytical and curious about it, because it's not something that's probably been studied. We're studying we know kind of what happens if you have extreme spikes all the time. We know what happens there. But we haven't looked at what does the body look like overall if you don't have any spikes ever. I'm just curious, really curious. And not to say, I think, because I mean, you'll probably see that if you get sick. You probably have major spikes if you get like the flu, whatever. Or if you're in a very highly stressful situation, like, you know, like a near car accident or get in a car accident or you hurt yourself or whatever, that's right through the roof. I mean, there's a reason why the body does that, right? So I'm curious. I'm just very, very curious if that is something, is there a possibility of it being detrimental? It probably is small, but still is something that I think about. Angela says that her coffee is brewing. I love it. Aaron says that the babies love chewing on the bones of their enemies. Sounds about right. I mean, I added the enemies, but so what? Do what I want. Pete says, I'm going to fry up 5 eggs and a lot of butter with some thick sliced bacon in a bit before I head off to work. Pork roast leftovers with cold butter chunks for dinner. Sounds delicious. And Dan says, helping people is vitally important. The spark of living by the example. This is how the curious individual, the fortitude to ask the how. Yeah. I just think we have to make sure that when they do ask the how, when they do garner the courage to ask for help, that we do not set a poor example and send them screaming for the fjords. Yeah, and Sharon says, people shut down with the carnivore talk about no bread, no fiber. Honestly, most people have bowel problems and think they must have the whole grains or for the fiber. Yeah, I mean, realistically, you see people with UC and like, oh, you just got to have more fiber, when it's probably the fiber that's causing the problems. Jackie says, I bought a locking cabinet on Temu and locked all of his crap food up. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And Mr. Dan says, I have truly recalibrated my eating routines on Lion. Breakfast isn't even optional. No need for me, even lunch. Understanding when my body is truly hungry, not forcing for pleasure. Yeah, I mean, for me, sometimes like it's just one of those things like I'll eat sometimes because I'm like, okay, if I don't eat now, then it's going to be too late to eat. And then tomorrow I'll be overly hungry and I'll overeat maybe. So, I mean, there's got to be, I mean, yeah, I mean, for the longest time I ate once a day or within like a couple, like a 2 hour period, 3 hour period, 1 to 3 hour period. I didn't pack a lunch. I didn't do anything. I didn't take anything with me. I just left, went to work, came home and ate dinner with the family the one time. And I felt great doing that. It's just harder when you don't leave the house. Everything I do is in the house. I mean, go in the grocery store, but almost everything is in the house. Jackie says, my cousin is a nurse and asked me where I get my fiber. I said, I don't need it. And she just looked at me. Yeah. I mean, there's not really a way to, I mean, realistically, the idea of fiber to push food through. Now, do I think that maybe there is some benefit to some fibers along the way? I mean, there is studies out there that show that certain amounts of gut fiber can help you, like just like certain amounts of fermented foods can help. Because again, we don't exist in a vacuum. We don't exist with just never. Now this is primarily an opinion of me, right, or my opinion. Looking at history, there's never been a time where any single human species has been only carnivore. We can talk about the Maasai. We can talk about the Inuit. Even them, if they would have found something growing, they probably would have ate it. I mean, I know we talk about the Inuit. We talk about the Maasai. We talk about some of these very small groups who, you know, like the Maasai would only eat like meat and drink milk and blood. And then like the Inuit would eat blubber and, you know, and whale stuff and all that. But I still think that that's how they sustain during winter. But in spring, I imagine they probably still had some fruits. Yeah, we did this back in 2016. We went through the house. We went through our kitchen, our pantry, cleaned everything out, gave stuff away, threw a lot away. And, you know, whether it's seed oils, the Wesson, the vegetable oils, the Imperial brand. We used to buy the Imperial brand of margarine because it was 89 cents, 79 cents for a pound of margarine. And we would use that in our macaroni and cheese. And it was butter because, again, it was healthy, right? We should have known better because nothing healthy is affordable. Nothing good for us costs a little bit. Everything that's good for us is expensive. And Pete says, 0 bathroom issues going carnivore. I typically go once a day, fast, easy peasy, rarely even need toilet paper. I mean, good for you, my friend. I don't think that's ever been a case for me. And Dan says, I go to the restroom every 1 to 3 days. Considered I eat OMAD. It's just normal. I mean, I don't know, because the body still produces waste. Even in a fasted state, your body is still going to produce waste. So even when I fasted, I would still go a little bit every day. It may not be any significant volume, but I would still go every day. I mean, your body is still cleaning itself out every day. Jackie's asking, did BlackRock buy Chosen Foods? Let me see. What? Let's see. Who bought Chosen Foods? It's a private equity firm called Butterfly Equity acquired a major stake in Chosen Foods in September of 2021. The ownership history says in 2021, majority buyout, Butterfly Equity, a Los Angeles-based investment firm, bought a majority stake in the company to help expand its avocado-based products globally. Financial terms were not shared publicly. 2017 prior acquisition, before Butterfly Equity took over, the Mexico-based oil and seed producer Sesajal, as Sesajal, bought a majority holding in Chosen Foods. I have ideas about Mexico and the avocado from Mexico that I would like to talk about, but I don't think it would be something that would go over well on YouTube. I think there's some things going on with avocados coming from Mexico by the kilo, if you know what I mean. If you can fill in the blanks there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think you can. I think you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Dan says, wild. When I was in both Rome and France, no appetite whatsoever toward the late evening to eat, but the air, ambience, and environment is so different. People aren't thinking about food constantly. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Papa says, Sharon, I stopped trying to convince those folks who don't want to listen, wasted my time and energy. If someone is open and generally wants to know how I lost so much weight, I'll tell them. Yeah. It's just difficult, though. You want to scream it from the rooftops. You want to grab people by the lapels and make, listen to me, but you know it won't work. You just know it won't work. Holly Springer is in the house. Good morning. What confuses me on the avocado mayo having seed oils is that foods with seed oils in them are cooked and seed oils tears up my gut, and the avocado mayo does not mess with my gut. So it means that I would say if you're utilizing Chosen Foods, I'm not exactly 100% sure that there actually is anything other than avocado oil in it. I've not seen any definitive proof. The little rebuttal that we got from Chosen Foods wasn't adequate in my opinion, but I'm very curious to see what happens with everything else. So, but I would say things that are cooked in seed oils are probably going to cause oxidation and then the breakdown, and that may be causing the irritation in the gut. But raw, because I don't think I ever had issues too much when it came with seed oils in the like a raw form. Like when we first started keto, we weren't really looking at like salad dressings as much, so we would still use salad dressings, and that didn't seem to bother us or give us inflammation. So maybe it's everything that's cooked in it, and it's not such a inflammatory response if it's not cooked. Like if you're using like, you know, canola oil and like a cold dressing, it's probably not going to have the same impact as if you just fried a whole bunch of French fries in it. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not an expert here. This is just kind of like how I look at it and what that makes me think of. And Brett says it's sad how many people actually believe the BS corporate statement, but what else are they going to say? We're sorry we cut corners and gave you a crap product to save some money. I mean, no, but also, I mean, what else are they supposed to say? I'm not, like I said, I'm not here trying to defend Chosen Foods by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also trying to say, like, my curiosity is piqued when I start to think about the fact that the mayonnaise had multiple types of fat in it, not just the avocado oil, but it also had egg, which is a fat. So they talk about being able to extract the fat out of it and then they said there's other stuff, but how do they account for, because they didn't say it was canola, they didn't say it was like anything like that. How do we know that those profiles weren't mixed and because of the egg fat? These are the questions that I have. And I'm not saying that I truly trust a private equity firm to not cut corners, especially when you're looking for mass distribution. But I'm also not saying that I fully understand the mechanism behind the testing and how accurate that testing may or may not have been. So I think before we start panicking and screaming that the sky is falling and throwing away our Chosen Food mayo, we need a little bit more information, I think. And like I said, you know, that Chris and Dr. Berry have that they just put a new video out about the butter mayo, and that's amazing. And that's something that people should try. But again, I think I talk about this because of the people who aren't going to try that butter mayo, the people who aren't going to seek out Dr. Barry or Chris or myself or people in this community, the people who are just going to go based on face value and buy these products from the store because somebody has to look out for them. They don't know to look out for themselves. So these are questions I think we as a community should be asking, not necessarily for our own benefit or our own usage, but again, there's millions of people out there who are going to buy these products who have no idea. There's how many people are buying Chosen food? I saw people buying Chosen food stuff yesterday at Costco. Or the day before at Costco, whatever day I was at Costco. Do you think they saw the UC study? Probably not. I know about it. I haven't bought any more, but I haven't thrown mine away either. So I think we have to be open and honest with ourselves here. And we have to look and we have to push back on these companies, not necessarily because we all want to use them, because there's a lot of people of you here today who aren't going to buy Chosen food, who aren't going to use that mayonnaise. You're more likely to make your own, whether it's Chris's butter mayo or other mayo recipes that he has, which will be in his cookbook. I know at least the butter mayo is in the cookbook, if I'm not mistaken. He'll let us know if he's still in the chat. But there's a lot of people who won't see those. He can sell 1 million copies of his cookbook, and there's still millions of people out there who need help who will never know. We have to fight for those people. We have to demand better for those people. Because there's going to be, there's an ever-growing number of people who aren't going to be able to do all this themselves. They don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the time. They're working 1, 2 jobs. They've got kids. They've got obligations. They've got sports and all these things and everything going on. Or they just don't have the skill. They don't have the knowledge. And sure, they can stumble across Chris and they can do better. But again, we still have to fight these companies because I think that no matter how big and how far our reach, Dr. Barry has 3.75 million subscribers. But there are 350 million people in the United States alone. There's a lot of people out there who have no idea who he is, and they need our support too. So we have to fight. We have to push back. We have to ask questions. We have to demand that these companies do better for those people who aren't even in our community. Oh, my goodness. And Dan says that I believe we can make our own mayo, 2 hard-boiled eggs in a blender, melted tallow, warm salt, little warm water. Yeah. But again, this is still a highly, highly niche type of thing that the average consumer will never probably know about. Sharon says the flavor isn't as rich in the Hellmann's. Purely avocado. It lacks the dill and rosemary, which I add in the one that I got to make it comparable. Yeah, I don't really need the dill and anything in mine because I'm using it in waffles. So I didn't notice any major differences. I haven't used the Hellmann's, but I just need a neutral flavor for the most part. Oh, just now getting down to Chris Cook in Nashville saying he's here. There we go. My good friend is here again. He's got a cookbook. Pre-orders are ready to go. Pre-order his cookbook. Then take that order number from pre-ordering the cookbook and get more bonus things. I don't even know. I think how many recipes are in the bonus material? Didn't you say it was something like 20? I think 20. I don't want to overspeak. I think it was 20 or 30. It was a lot. Because, Chris can't just do something half-ass. Chris has got to go, like, crazy on it and do, like, way, way more than anybody else would. because Chris. Jackie says, you know what I trust? Nothing. I don't trust big companies. Let's see. I never trust science studies. They're usually always money behind it and meat. Gates is ruining that too. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that all goes down. I kind of feel like if we don't trust anything, there's got to be some trusting. Even if, I know it feels like maybe we're optimistic. Maybe that's a problem that I have. I'm over optimistic. I don't know. I don't know. Chris says we're doing good. Hopefully we have a day off and only film one GarageBand cooking school episode. You are an animal. You work so very hard. So very hard, my friend. Oh, let's see. Aaron says, I can't survive on ramen noodles. I remember starving after eating them. Yeah, I mean, you'd be full and then hungry again, sure. But, like, you won't die. Yeah, this is what Chris was talking about, how he did a video where he ground up cornflakes, a little water, made a patty. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And Rick is in the house. Hello, Rick. How you doing, my friend? Jackie says, I ate mostly ramen noodles on board during a Westpac 6 months and lost a lot of weight. Oh, I can imagine. And Chris says cost per nutrition for some certain nutrients for cereal was like $1,200 or something, the same as a pound of burger. All of it was way more than the cereal and the burgers were yeah. And Maurice is asking, what do I do with the butter, the leftover butter when you fry chicken thighs? I don't use butter to fry my chicken thighs. I think I talked about that, pretty sure. Let's see. Barb says, remember when I was just starting out in the world and how poor we were? Government cheese and butter giveaways, C rations from our National Guard friend, living off of that and potatoes. Yeah. I mean, poverty is real. And I think the major misconception on poverty is looking at just the cost of the food. Now, like for me, I feel perfectly fine eating frozen hamburger patties, eggs, bacon, chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are $1.77 a pound. I get tired of eating chicken thighs, but I'll eat them because, again, $1.77 a pound. But I feel like I don't have as much satiety when I eat them, even with as much fat as I put in them. Thomas is in the house. Hello, my friend Thomas. How are you doing? Glad to see you this morning. And Naomi Jones is in the house. Hello. How are you doing, dear? Glad to see you too. Yeah, it is difficult. Even with the kids seeing how I shop versus how they shop. Oh, my goodness. They shop so bad. They shop so bad. It's so awful. I try and like, and then, you know, like our son, he just went full time at UPS. So now he's working 8 hours, but like they split up his shift. Sometimes he has like 2 hours between two pieces of his shift, which that would drive me up a wall. Because I feel like that's wasted time. I can't do other stuff. He's 22, making a really good amount of money right now. For a 22-year-old, he's making a crazy amount of money. He's probably making, when I was 22, let's see. He's probably making 4 or 5 times what I was making when I was 22, even adjusted for inflation. Crazy. But he went and got a bunch of snacks because he's hungry. And I'm like, he's like, well, I'm working it off. And I'm like, that's not how it works. He's like, okay. It's like they know, but they don't want to listen because it's inconvenient. The inconvenient truth of it is he was keto. He and his brother were both keto when they lived with us when we first went keto. They didn't have a choice. We only cooked one way. Now I would buy like the big boxes of popcorn from Costco, and I would bring carrot sticks in the house and things like that, just for them to have something for snacks. And we'd have pork rinds and whatever in the house too. But, you know, and they thinned out. They had energy. They were playing rugby. They were running miles every day at practice. And now, like, they just don't. And they know better, but they don't. They don't do it. And then when I try to, you know, be like, you know better, they get upset with me. Jabber Jen's going to go edit a video. Oh, let's see. And Terry says, Dustin is correct on the math way. The math way to decide whether meat is more expensive than duck foods. Way more bang for your buck. Yeah, I mean, but it's difficult though. Like, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to, like, and you walk to the grocery store, you'll see stuff in different places, like decisions were made. Like, you'll see things put on the shelf. You're like, somebody made a decision here, and it probably wasn't the right one. Yeah. Lisa, have a good one. You're probably already long gone. And Brett says, I've always had a hard time taking nutrition advice from a bodybuilder or hyper fit 22-year-olds looking to talking about how easy it is. Yeah, if you've never had struggle in your life, you've never struggled with weight, or if you only struggled with weight for like 6 months, then you got in the gym and it all went away and it was easy peasy, chicken cheesy, then it's really hard to take you seriously. That's like, there's some people that are on the internet right now and they've moved across country to be near a trainer. And like, I don't know who this trainer is. I haven't looked them up. I don't know what their history is. But I feel bad for the person that is paying this money to this trainer, because they're still doing calories and they're still talking about a calorie deficit and they're still weighing themselves. Now they're only doing it monthly. Are they losing weight? Sure. But are they probably doing it the hardest way possible? Also, sure. Like, I don't give them advice because it's not my place. Yeah, and Sharon's right. I mean, some of these bodybuilders eat straight, like they just eat candy because the insulin is a growth hormone, and bodybuilders will sometimes shoot up insulin even if they're not metabolically unhealthy, and they'll add scoops and scoops of maltodextrin to their protein shakes and stuff, because again, it's going to shoot up your glucose, cause insulin, and you're just going to bulk. It's crazy. So crazy. And Aaron says, if I could give up cheese, I would probably be in perfect health. Well, we're not going to live forever. I mean, no matter how well we eat, we're not going to live forever. So I don't know. Is eating some cheese really going to be that detrimental to things? I don't know. That's the thing. That's what we have to work out for ourselves. Jackie said, my therapist asked me when I was what my physical goal was, and after thinking in a short time, I said, I always wanted to be a bodybuilder. I don't think I want to be in the gym 10, 12 hours a day. You just have to. And Chris talks about how cheese is a dopamine hit. I think there's a lot of that stuff for us. And I think that some of it can be valuable, right? Like Chris even says here, like when I was running super low, hit from my brain when it's running super low. The AUDHD is a beast. Cheese gets me through sometimes, but I try to limit. I mean, there's gotta be some survival mechanisms in there somewhere. Like cheese or eating something you truly enjoy, something that really just kind of, because I mean, obviously the body provides dopamine at certain aspects and certain times. So I wonder, like, just because you do get a dopamine bump from cheese, like, is that necessarily, I mean, it can't always be a negative. I don't know. There's just things that I think about. I think sometimes in this community, sometimes we overthink things and we go, like, it's kind of like how people talk about, what is it? There's certain aspects, like if this is good, like when it came to the protein sparing modified fast. That was meant to be like a 2-day-a-week thing. But people look at that and go, well, if 2 days is good, then just think what I could accomplish if I did that 5 days a week. It's more isn't always better. And sometimes I wonder how much less is better. That's kind of like where I think about, like, is it good for us to never have a glucose spike? Is it good for us to never have, like, something outside of meat? Like, is it something like, wouldn't it be better for us to kind of have that bioavailability, the gut availability? I don't know. These are questions that I have. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm just some guy here on the internet talking about what pops into my head. I love it. I love Cypress Hill. I love it. I love Cypress Hill. I think that was one of the first records that I listened all the way through was Black Sunday. Sitting out on my back porch or my back deck balcony thing in my apartment growing up when I was a kid, and with a Discman sitting out there listening to Black Sunday. That album still holds up to this day. Naomi says, I was a big milk drinker myself growing up. Always had the spot, like you said. My agri teacher always said that milk quenched the thirst that he had, and he was right. I always drank milk instead of water. Milk never, when I was super hot and thirsty, milk didn't do it. Milk always gave me that thick in the back of the throat. But at dinner, like when I was having dinner, there was nothing better than a super ice cold glass of milk. Milk with dinner, like I never liked alcohol with food. People would want to go out to dinner and have beers and wine. I was never into that. Like soda for me, or like if I could have like chocolate milk, that would have been a thing. I would have been an alcoholic for chocolate milk, like some True Moo or whatever, right? But just milk in general, man, oh man, oh man. Whew. Like just having milk with dinner was so good to me. I loved it. I don't know. Yeah, and Aaron says it's the interesting question about the glucose spikes. I mean, it's just a thing that kind of, I want to know more. And there's questions that I kind of feel like I have that nobody's asking. And they may not be very valid or important questions, but I mean, like things that make you go, And Christy says, lady at work had to go to the hospital for some digestive thing. And then she went to the grocery store looking for fiber. I got the feeling her doc told her to. No fiber talk for me. Like I would say, pay attention. If you still think she's having issues with the fiber, like, I don't know. Is there a person that talks to you about this kind of stuff? If they're confiding in you with this kind of stuff and like, well, you're not really seeing success with this. Have you thought about maybe trying this? Give it 30 days. And you know the way to do this, Christy. You know what's going on. You know. I imagine that Dr. Baker probably does. I imagine he probably has massive glucose spikes when he's exercising like he does. He would have to have some. I'd imagine you probably don't get big like him without some kind of glucose spike. Not saying that he's not natty or whatever, but I would say that like he's a giant of a man. I would say that even with just his working out probably increases glucose and then insulin response and then healing and eating meat. There's got to be something to it. Yeah. Brian Dish just said just basically the same thing. If you exercise heavily, you'll have a glucose spike. Yeah. Carl says, I know that Dr. Boz has been looking at no glucose spikes, but I don't know the time frame of the studies. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. I don't really see, there's too many people to pay attention to. I can't pay attention to them all. It's just impossible. Brian Aries in the house. Good morning, my friend. How are you doing? Aaron's going to be doing some markdown shopping this morning. I always look for markdown stuff, but like it never looks good. It's always like gray and sad. And I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that at all. And Jackie says, Grok says, glucose spikes happen during intense exercise, stress. So yeah, Dr. Baker does have glucose spikes. Yeah, he would have to. He's doing sprints on the pier down in Tampa or Clearwater or wherever he's at. He's doing those box jumps. He's doing the high-intensity rowing. Risa is here. Risa's, good morning, all. Got my coffee. I love it. Risa is day 16 of Carnivore. I would send some claps and some stuff, but my stuff isn't working today. Not having any feedbacks. I'm very sorry about that, but yes. And Brett says, it's a good question. Let's say, I doubt there's any issue with lack of sugar spikes. I have to ask one of the doctors in the next live chat. I have a feeling they will say there's no issue. But even if they say there's no issue, I was still curious as to where they're getting that, like where they're getting that like where they're like how they're so sure about it. Because we get our information and like, you know, like, well, I don't know if I highly doubt there's a lot of people in this anywhere that has no glucose spikes. I'm just curious. Do 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 do. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when the fiber myth really started. It's got to be probably in the 60s. Let's see. When did the fiber myth really start kicking in? Let's see. Dietary fiber started getting heavily pushed for health in 1971 when British surgeon Dr. Dennis Burkitt published his foundational dietary fiber hypothesis. That 1971 hypothesis by Dr. Burkitt, often called the fiber man, argued that low fiber diets cause constipation, diverticulitis, hemorrhoids, and colon cancer. That sounds a little fishy to me. I mean, who am I to contradict a doctor, though? Let's see. Standard guidelines, official dietary daily recommended official daily recommendations of 20 to 35 grams of fiber were established decades ago, mostly focused on the basic bowel regularity. The microbiome era in recent years, the focus expanded from simple digestion to nourishing the gut bacteria and creating short-chain fatty acids. Let's see, we can learn more about those. Read the complete historical overview at the Otsuka Pharmaceutical Co. Limited. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Let's see. Let's ask. Let's ask if his hypothesis was ever proven. It says his broad hypothesis was partially proven and partially modified. While massive global studies confirm that high fiber diets protect against overall mortality, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, specific early claims such as fiber directly and immediately stopped colon cancer or diverticulitis disease faced strong scientific contradictions. Cardiovascular and metabolic health, large-scale prospective studies, and meta-analysis such as those reviewed in the Lancet validated the high fiber intake significantly lowers the risk for coronary heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Let's see. All-cause mortality consuming high amounts of fiber consistently correlates, but can't prove causation, with 15 to 30% reduction in all-cause mortality compared to low-fiber diets. Now, we have to ask, though, what is the difference between a high-fiber diet and a low-fiber diet in the context of the overall diets? Bowel regularity, the fundamental mechanism or mechanical benefit of the fiber on stool weight, transit time, and preventing simple constipation are universally accepted. But that doesn't mean it's right. Yeah, the colon cancer debate, diverticular disease. Yeah, so those things were not proven. Just curious. Yeah. I mean, realistically, if you're eating foods like meat and eggs, you don't probably have a problem going to the bathroom. I mean, some people might think that they're constipated, but if you don't have any bloating or pain or feel like that, you haven't gone poop in a while, you're probably not constipated. You're just not needing to go to the bathroom all that often. Risa says, I did not clean out the kitchen or pantry, but I have not eaten any of it since I started. Hubby and son are at work. They eat around me and I don't touch it. Yeah, that's good. Smoothie said he used to add Velveeta to box mac and cheese. I mean, realistically, my grandmother's amazing macaroni and cheese when I was a kid was macaroni and cheese, butter, milk, and Velveeta. And then she'd bake it. And I would eat it for like 3 days after. So yummy. Rick is out of here. See you, Rick. Probably already long gone. Long gone. Terry says, I think fiber can be very dangerous for the elderly. My mom was in her mid-80s and always wanted fiber. Her stools could be as large as a Nerf football at times. I think it exacerbates constipation. My great-grandmother used to drink Metamucil all the time. So I don't know, because she was told, you got to have fiber. You got to have fiber. I don't know. I wasn't young enough to be like, but what? Tell me about your poop, Grandma. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I know that she drank Metamucil every day. So I don't know really how that really helped her. Let's see what's going on. I'm so far behind. Angie says, I probably drive my husband, kids, and parents nuts talking about it. Let's see, losing so much weight in so little time, I had to tell someone I still have lots to lose, and now I don't know what works for me. Yeah. I mean, my kids got so tired of hearing me say it, they'd be like, you know what? They'd have a flat tire. If you were keto, you wouldn't have had that flat tire. I mean, maybe. One will never know. Terry Girl says, I bet the FDA gives all companies a lengthy time limit before I have to change an ingredient label when they do, in fact, change an ingredient, like a year or something before a fine. Let's see. Let's see what this says here. There is no grace period or time limit to update a food label after formulation change. The new packaging and nutrition label facts must be updated before or at the exact time the reformulation product is introduced to the market. Under federal law, if a company changes its ingredients or nutritional profile but continues to sell the product in its old packaging, the food is legally considered misbranded. However, how a company handles this depends on whether the change is a voluntary brand recipe tweak or a mandatory rule passed by the FDA. Voluntary corporate formulation change, no grace period. When a company chooses to alter a product's recipe, such as swapping a flavor carrier or a change in sweetener, immediate compliance. The first batch of the reformulated product that hits the store shelves must feature an accurate ingredient list and nutrition facts panel. Misbranding penalties. Selling a reformulated product in old packaging can result in severe FDA warning letters, product seizures, and massive inventory recalls. Temporary sticker fixes. Because printing entirely new packaging runs takes time, the FDA allow products to use temporary security adhesive stickers over labeling to cover old ingredient lists or nutritional stats while they phase out the old box or bottle inventories. Now, the FDA mandated government label changes uniform compliance dates. When the FDA passes a new regulation that forces companies to reformulate or change labels across the board, they provide a strict transition timeline. Uniform compliance dates to save companies money. The FDA bundles labeling updates together. For example, final labeling regulations published between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2026 have a strict uniform compliance date of January 1st, 2028. Tiered extensions by company size for massive sweeping overhauls like the major 2016 nutrition fact label update. The FDA usually gives larger companies over 10 million in sales roughly 3 years to comply, while granting smaller businesses an extra year of lead time. Interesting. Interesting. Oh. Reese says, I haven't bought Hellman's in years. Hubby asked why. I said it's unhealthy oils in it. And people don't understand that. Ivy's here. Good morning, Ivy. So very glad to see you. Ten recipes and a bunch behind the scenes in the bonus. There we go. 10 recipes. So be sure to reach out to Chris Cookie Naturals website with your pre-order number to get that sent to you. You know you need it. Brett's got it already. Brett is one of the first people to get it, I'm guessing. And he says, wow, so much good stuff. Let's see. I don't know. Who upset Ivy? What's going on? I don't see anything, so I don't know what's going on. Uncle Charlie says, I'm going away for 3 days. Last night I cooked 1 pound of Wagyu beef, 2 pounds of bacon, and 24 eggs. 1 meal a day. Ivy says, apparently. Wait, what happened? And Chris is talking to Ivy saying, I don't know what I did. I don't know. Maybe they'll enlighten us of what's going on because I have no idea. Yeah, Angie says UPS pays really good deal for your son. Yeah, I also understand the frustration of the M thing. Mine are 22 and 18. Yeah. Oh, they drive me bananas. Chris says I'm struggling with the whole black coffee thing. It's okay because I miss my cream. I went for years and years drinking black coffee. I drink black coffee for a very long time, really because I was lazy. I didn't want to have to go to the store. I didn't want to have to bring cream because like you'd buy enough cream for the week, but it like would go bad before the end of the week, or either you'd have to like not have enough. It was just a pain in the butt. So I was like, I'll just drink it black. I got really used to drinking black coffee, and I would drink it all day. I would keep the same. It's probably really bad for plastics, but I had like the same styrofoam, like McDonald's 20-ounce cup. And I would just pour coffee from the coffee pot in there all day. Probably drink like 4 or 5 of those in a day. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Now, then when I went keto, it was like heavy cream, or not heavy cream, but it was butter and coconut oil in my coffee. And then I was so creamy and delicious. And now coconut oil is like out the wazoo expensive. So now I just use heavy cream and butter. I need to start cutting back. I think I have too much fat in my daily diet. So that's probably a problem. Oh, let's see. Oh, let's see. Amy says, it will get better, Chris. Promise. Quitting heavy cream and some other tweaks brought me through a 2-year stall. OMG. Maybe I need to commiserate with you, Chris, and stop using cream and butter in my coffee. That's my I don't want to do it face. I do need to sit down and watch that Diary of the CEO podcast. I'm really curious about it. Pete's coming to Chris's defense and Ivy. I'm not sure what's going on here. Amanda's back again. Carl's asking, where can you just go to it's a YouTube channel to go to Diary of a CEO. Let's see. Amy says that her husband is getting off the last med, which is an SSRI. He is doing well. We fired our doctor, so we have no one to prescribe us meds. I need 2 meds, but my allergist can prescribe them. Interesting. Lindy is in the house. Good morning, dear. How are you? So happy to see you. I hope you're feeling better, my dear. So very glad to see you. Karen says that she put 10 pounds on when she went carnivore. Can't seem to get it off. Now battling UTI or diverticulitis. Ugh, I don't want to go to a specialist. Just want it to go away. Interesting. That's no good, Karen. I hope you figure that out. Oh, let's see. Evelyn says, my 56-year-old husband runs circles around the teens and 20-year-old kids he works with. I didn't know Carl was 56. Holy shnikes. I also have to remember that I'm 47. So, like, I forget how old I am. Maritza had 6 eggs fried in butter. Sounds delicious. I've been frying my eggs in butter and tallow together. I love it. It's such a good flavor. Pete is 64 years old. Let's see. Brian says, my insurance company called my pharmacist and they want me on a statin. What the hell? Shouldn't there be a doctor involved? Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know insurance companies could prescribe medicine. It's crazy. Oh, my goodness. Ivy says, my doctor is still prescribing me like 15 drugs every month. They're just piling up. I don't know. Maybe I'll just add them to my burn pile in the trash. Oh, my goodness. Brian says, a better question would be, how does the FDA test? Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting like a lot of double comments here on my side. Maritza's asking, what's the website to share the meetup? It's lowcarbevents.com. And Chris says a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking soda to cut the acidity. Crazy. Brian says, thought I was the only one with that face. Like, what you talking about, Willis? Yeah, Chris says, I feel you. I wish I could have all the fat in the coffee, but just can't do that first thing in the morning and lose weight. That's probably one of the things that I probably got to just really do it. You know what I mean? Oh, my goodness. Risa says, people at work can't believe that I'm 65. The way I move, my mom was very hyperactive, but I think it is hereditary, but I also eat way lower in carbs. Yeah, 100%. Evelyn says, I'm 52. Oh, my goodness. Carl says he looks good for a YouTube profile pic. Maritza says, no one believes that I'm 57. You're 57? What? Oh, my goodness. Karen is 69 years young. Oh, my goodness. So crazy. I love it. Well, unfortunately, I think we've come to that portion of the show where it's time that we say goodbye. My coffee is almost empty. It is now empty. We've had a good long talk today, 2.5 hours. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for putting up with all my technical difficulties. For some reason, my intro didn't play. All the fun things, right? All the fun things. But thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to play the outro. It probably won't play, but we'll do the best that we can. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you on Tuesday, okay? All right, everybody. Have a great one.